For those of you who were unlucky enough or basically just can't stand to watch Fox, this one is for you guys. Newt Gingrich got on with Fox News, which is totally in the tank for Donald Trump, though they'll never admit it. And this fool went crazy. And when I saw the segment, I said, you know something? You know, these guys in the Republican Party that are, in my opinion, far right, if not all the way, alt-right, white supremacists. Newt Gingrich, Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump, and Roger Ailes, pretty much every last single one of them, you could have interchanged in this particular clip, and they would have all said exactly the same thing. Okay? But Newt Gingrich, basically, he just went out on a flipping tangent. So I'm going to play the clip and let you see for yourself. But this guy is a total misogynist. He's a total misogynist. And he's going to try to go off on Megyn Kelly just like Donald Trump has. And pretty much, if Giuliani had been sitting in the seat, he probably, like I said, he and Trump, they would have done exactly the same thing that this guy did. Here's the clip.
Great to see you, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for being here. So
it's good to be back.
I mean, with Cook and many other nonpartisan independent pollsters now saying that the Senate is likely lost to the Republicans, what does that say? I mean, if Donald Trump loses this White House race and the Republicans lose the Senate, does that suggest that the Republicans nominated the wrong candidate at the top of their ticket?
The next 2 weeks are a contest of two parallel universes. I just listened to that report. First of all, I used to hang out with Charlie Cook when he would explain that Donald Trump was hopeless and would not get the nomination. I like Charlie. That doesn't mean he's infallible. But let's take the report we just got. Republicans are actually outvoting Democrats in Florida. They're outvoting Democrats in Pennsylvania. That's unprecedented. They've cut the Democratic lead.
You predict a win in Pennsylvania?
I think they might.
Really? You think Trump's going to win Pennsylvania?
Look, all I can report to you right now is they're outvoting the Democrats in early voting, which is also true in Florida, which is unprecedented.
But all of the polls in Pennsylvania have her winning.
What?
All of the polls in Pennsylvania have her ahead.
I know. I just told you we have two alternative universes right now. In Iowa, for example, the Democrats are 50,000 votes behind where they were with Barack Obama in turnout. The governor is very confident we're going to carry Iowa, which Obama carried last time. I can just carry you through case after case like this. In Minnesota, we're almost certainly going to win the congressional seat up around Duluth, which is a very Democratic area, but it deeply dislikes Hillary Clinton. And Representative.
But let me just ask you. Let me just ask you, because you say it's two alternate universes. I mean, these are
exactly. He's living in an alternate universe where everything is going to break Trump's way, and that's just crazy. Just like it would be crazy to say that Hillary Clinton is going to win all of the swing states that she's ahead in, or she's within the margin of error right now. That's crazy. I honestly don't believe that she's going to win Arizona, even though I think it's close and they're pouring a lot of resources there. There's no way, in my opinion, that she wins Utah. But I think that Evan McMullin might have a chance at dumping Trump there. I do think she's got a hell of a chance at North Carolina. And depending on how much voter suppression is going on, I think she does have a chance to win Georgia. But, places like Iowa, I don't think she's going to win Iowa. I don't think she's going to win Indiana. And obviously, I absolutely believe that they're going to win Pennsylvania, because if you're not aware of it, they were trying and have been a bit more successful although under the cover, on voter suppression in Pennsylvania. But he's right. He's living in a universe that is different from the real world. But let's continue.
Sort of small examples of how he might be heading early voting and so on. But I'm telling you that the Fox News decision desk just moved Iowa, that you just mentioned, Indiana, 2nd Congressional District in Maine. All of them moved left, moved more likely to vote for Hillary Clinton. And in fact, all of the moves that have been on this map over the past 3 weeks by Larry Sabato, by Cook, by the Fox News decision desks. These are nonpartisan outlets that are just trying to call the electoral
Not nonpartisan
scoreboard.
outlets. Every outlet you described is part of the establishment.
Fox News, really? Are we? I don't think so. And they,
Exactly. See, so now he's living in an alternate universe because there's one a network that you want to watch that's going to be pro-Trump. It is Fox News, okay? It is Sean Hannity, the #1 cheerleader, with Bill O'Reilly right behind him. Now, Megyn Kelly's got an axe to grind, so I'll say that she is more neutral. She's not anti-Trump, at least on the air, so I'll say she's more neutral. But Fox is known to be supportive of the right. So Gingrich is over here trying to paint the picture that the whole goddamn world is against Trump, including all of the media, and that is just absolutely not true.
every state they've moved it to the left, towards Hillary. And you tell me whether that's all made up.
No, I think they're two alternative universes. You have a poll which suggests that she's going to get a Barack Obama turnout among African Americans. I don't think that's going to happen. You have a Washington Post ABC News poll.
Now he just threw some bullshit in there, because I have seen no poll, and trust me, even though I've been down for the count, I still have been following this in every spare moment during the day. There has been no poll that suggests that Hillary Clinton is going to get the 90 to 95% support from the African American community. Most polls say she's going to be somewhere between 80 to 85. Same thing with the Hispanic community. No poll suggests that she's going to get 80% of the Hispanic vote, which, if he had kept ranting, he probably would have thrown that in there. Most polls say that the Hispanic community is going to come somewhere in the 67 to 73% area. Now, I think that that's going to be higher because Trump's situation with the Mexican people, and again, and the Asians are in there somewhere. I think they're going to come in there pretty much at the same range that they did for Obama the last two elections. But he just threw, like I said, bullshit in there, trying to intimate that there's polls out there that say Clinton is going to pull or draw the African American vote as heavily as Obama did. That just is not true.
Where they took out 8% of the vote because they didn't like the way it voted. Look, I've been around long enough. I remember when the Detroit Liberal newspaper on the Sunday before the election said John Engler would lose by 14 points. He won the governorship that year. Mm-hmm. I don't take polls as seriously as people who've never run for office.
But your
I can tell you.
your candidate loves them and has touted them from the beginning. And he's been behind in virtually every one out of the last 40 polls that we've seen over the past month. That's the reality.
If you want to assume the election's over, skip the next 2 weeks and we can talk about the future.
I'm not assuming anything. I'm asking you whether you believe your candidate's behind based on these numbers and what it says about the down ballot races.
I believe the odds are at least 1 in 3, and maybe better than that the difference in intensity and the difference in determination and the degree to which Hillary Clinton is clearly the most corrupt, dishonest person ever nominated by a party all mean that the odds are pretty good she's not going to win. Mm-hmm. Now, I actually believe that. This is not just because I'm for Donald Trump. I actually believe the American people...
So
Yeah, that's because you and your buddies are living in a fantasy world. You guys are not acknowledging reality. Does Donald Trump have a chance? Absolutely. Are his chances good? Hell to the no. Are his chances fair? Hell to the no. Are his chances poor? Yes, his chances are poor, but the chances are still there.
ask you about
sickened by
that.
this.
So
Sure.
let's assume she is corrupt, right? She was
Fair
just as corrupt 3 weeks ago and 3 months ago, and she would have been corrupt and collapsing physically on September 11th of this year, and her poll numbers tanked. But then you know what happened. He had a rough first debate. He took the bait on Alicia Machado. He stayed in that trap for a week. The Access Hollywood tape came out, which was not produced by Hillary Clinton. That was Trump on camera talking about grabbing women.
Look, I just heard you go through this with Governor Pence. I get it. I know where you're coming from. But let me point out something to you.
Sure.
The three major networks.
Look at his face. And he is getting upset because Megyn Kelly is pointing out the facts. Just look at how angry he's getting because of what she's saying.
Spent 23 minutes attacking Donald Trump that night and 57 seconds on Hillary Clinton's secret speeches. You don't think this is a scale of bias worthy of Pravda and Izvestia? I mean, you want to know why Donald Trump's had a rough time?
If Trump is a sexual predator, that is...
He's not a sexual predator.
Okay,
You
that's
can't
your
say
opinion.
that.
He is a sexual predator. That's the whole point. But Gingrich is going to defend him being a sexual predator because he's one. Roger Ailes is one. And Rudy Giuliani is one too. They're at least misogynists as far as how they treated their women and how they cheated on them. So that's what's really getting under this guy's skin. The fact that Donald Trump's being called out and he sees his own situation when he got kicked out as Speaker of the House for doing the bullshit that he did.
I'm not taking a position
Defend
on
that
it.
statement.
I'm not
sick
taking a
and
position
tired
on
of
it.
people like you using language that's inflammatory, that's not true.
Excuse me, Mr. Speaker.
Donald
you have
Trump
no
was not
idea
this-
whether it's true or not. What we know is that there are at
Neither
least...
do you.
That's right, and I'm not taking a position on it,
Well,
unlike
yes, you are. When you use the words, you took a position.
So
and
what
I think
I said
it's very
is
unfair of you to do that, Megyn. I think
incorrect.
that is exactly the bias people are upset by.
I think
See, Gingrich wasn't listening to what she said. As soon as the word sexual predator came out, he went off the rails, started seeing red, and his hearing shut down. Because she's going to say exactly what she said, okay? And he's going to be sitting there with a dumb look on his face.
that your defensiveness on this may speak volumes, sir.
No,
what I said
exactly.
is
Just
if,
to you.
no. Let me make my point, and then I'll give you the floor. What I said is if Trump is a sexual predator, then it's a big story. And what we saw on that tape was Trump himself saying that he likes to grab women by the genitals and kiss them against their will. That's what we saw. Then we saw 10 women come forward after he denied actually doing it at a debate to say that was untrue. He did it to me. He did it to me. We saw reporters. We saw people who had worked with him, people from Apprentice, and so on and so forth. He denies it all, which is his right. We don't know what the truth is. My point to you is, as a media story, we don't get to say the 10 women are lying. We have to cover that story, sir.
Sure. Okay, so it's worth 23 minutes of the three networks to cover that story. And Hillary Clinton in a secret speech in Brazil to a bank that pays her $225,000, saying her dream is an open border where 600 million people could come to America. That's not worth covering.
That is...
When you're talking about 600 million people, and you're not actually talking about that number, but when you're talking about open borders versus a sex scandal, you know that the sex scandal went 101 times out of 100. People want to hear about sex even though they don't claim they don't want to hear about sex. So what he's saying is ridiculous. Yeah, the sex scandal is absolutely always the biggest story, and you're always going to give coverage to sex scandals. And he knows that.
And you want to go back through the tapes of your show recently? You are fascinated with sex and you don't care about public policy.
No, Newt, you are fascinated with sex and you don't care about public policy, even though you claim you do. Why do we know that you're fascinated with sex? Because you cheated on at least 2 out of 3 of your previous wives, and you may be cheating on the current one. We just don't know it.
Well, that's what I get out of watching you tonight.
You know what, Mr. Speaker? I'm not fascinated by sex, but I am
I kind of wish she was, but then again, that's just my opinion.
fascinated by the protection of women and understanding what we're getting in the Oval Office. And I think the American voters would like to know.
And therefore, we're going to send Bill Clinton back to the East Wing because, after all, you are worried about sexual predators.
Bill Clinton is not running for office. That's what these Republicans constantly fall back on. Hillary Clinton is the one running for president. Bill Clinton, though married to her, is not going to be in the office of the presidency. He will be, I guess you're going to call him the first gentleman. He will have no official powers. But you guys consistently want to tie him to Hillary, which you should, but you also fail to take into consideration the fact that he is not the one that's on the ballot. It's her.
Yeah, listen, it's not about me. It's about the women and men of America. And the poll numbers show us that the women of America in particular are very concerned about these allegations and in large part believe that they are a real issue. And don't dismiss the women summarily.
Do you want to comment on whether the Clinton ticket has a relationship to a sexual predator?
We on the Kelly File have covered that story as well, sir. I will tell you the polls.
I just want to hear you use the words. I want to hear you use the words, Bill Clinton sexual predator. I dare you. Say Bill Clinton sexual predator.
See, now he's acting like an 8-year-old, okay, which most Republicans don't, but some do, when, especially the ones when they bring up radical Islamic terrorism. They're acting like 8-year-olds. You know, a name is a name, a title is a title, but that doesn't change the physical position or condition of what you're talking about. You know, you can call an orange a lemon, but it's still, you know, an orange. You can call it anything you want. You know, you can call, especially if you speak a different language, I could say naranja, okay, and you call it an orange. They're two different names for the same thing. Doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So, but Newt is trying to, Newt's going back to second and third grade on this, which is ridiculous.
Mr. Speaker,
disbarred by the Arkansas bar. Disbarred by the Arkansas bar. $850,000 penalty.
Excuse me, sir. We on the Kelly File have covered the Clinton matter as well. We've hosted Kathleen Willey. We've covered the examples of him being accused as well, but he's not on the ticket. And the polls also show that the American public is less interested in the deeds of Hillary Clinton's husband than they are in the deeds of the man who asks us to make him president, Donald Trump. We're going to have to leave it at that, and you can take your anger issues and spend some time working on them, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for being here.
And you too.
That was wild. She hit him with the anger issues, because he damn sure does have some anger issues when it comes to the words sexual predators, because he is one, just as Donald Trump is. I just had to make a video on this one, because this is the Trump campaign basically circling the drain, and I'm willing to bet you that this particular exchange is going to make various news cycles for the next 24 hours.